we can't change people's perceptions of circumstance. People react differently when things don't work out. You only have control of the meaning that you give it. All right, so this doesn't work unless you ask questions. If you understand AI, you'll understand this comment, but it also applies to questions. 0 to 1 is much harder, much longer, much more difficult than 1 to 100. That's why AI was invented. Same with questions. One of the things I find really humorous is I ask people for questions. It always starts like this. Hopefully one of you will have a question. But by the end, some of you may or may not ask a question. And then the minute I say, I gotta leave, hold on, I got a question. Can I talk to you for 1 minute? No, talk to me here, more than a minute. If anyone needs a phone call afterwards, I always give a minimum of 5 minutes to help people by phone, especially if they came to a meetup. So first question, anyone have a question about anything? Here we go.
So sometimes in business, obviously situations happen. There are things that go wrong. And what happens is, let's say you have a bad partnership. Now because of the context of the situation of that partnership, for whatever situation you were in, you didn't see eye to eye, and that person goes their merry way, you go your own way. And what happens is, you might be cordial with that person in your heart, like, you know what, it didn't work out, but I think they're a good human being. But they might interpret it differently, and they might start to muddy and kind of ruin your reputation in subtle ways if they try to do business with other people. What's the best way to handle that situation? Obviously, you don't want to emotionally react, but how do you?
Yeah, so everyone in the world, I have a mic on, everybody in the world has partnerships, friendships, relationships that don't end up as we want them to end up. And the reason is that when we create an agreement, when we create a relationship with people, time, emotion, and value changes. And we can't change people's perceptions of circumstance. People react differently when things don't work out. People react differently. You only have control of the meaning that you give it. I can't control the meaning you gave it. Right? I always say I forgive people for the perceptions that they have of me, and I forgive myself for the perceptions I have of you, because they're not true. That's why they're called perceptions. You give meaning to everything that you see. I think the key to feeling at ease about people that muddy the waters or attack you or blame, shame, and justification, the thing that gave me ease, and I'll give you a really hard example in my life, is when I lost everything, I never wanted to take anyone else's money. I had enough money on my own. I never wanted to take anyone's money for any of my projects. And I had close friends who were like, dude, you have to let me into this deal. Everything you're doing is making money. I'm like, it's risky. I don't need that risk. We're friends. I don't need your money. No, but you're stopping me from making money. And so I'll say, look, if you want to give a symbolic investment, 10 to 25,000, I'll let you do that. What was amazing was I lost their money. I lost her 10 grand. I lost his 25 grand. I lost her 25 grand. And I lost everything. So it wasn't like it was a, but it wasn't like a Ponzi scheme where like, dude, I got rich and everybody else lost. I lost over 100 million. And I told you not to come in the deal. But what hurt me the most, which is very similar, these are friends that were begging me, is that they, because of 2008, they lost everything that had nothing to do with the 10,000 or the 25,000 they lost for me, but I was an easy scapegoat. Blame, shame, and justification. So like, oh, you went bankrupt? Oh yeah, that motherfucker Dave Meltzer, he had me invest in that deal and I lost everything. And I knew when people came to me, because circles are small, and they're like, yeah, he really hates you. You're the reason he went bankrupt. I was like, he had a $6 million home. If that $10,000 bankrupt him, I doubt I'm accountable for it. And it's the same exact thing. So how do we think about this to help heal our meaning? And this has helped me a lot with people that attack me. That they weren't your friend anyway. The people that listen to them aren't your friends anyway. They're not muddying any waters. They're protecting you from the people that are listening, because those people are the exact same as that person. If they're gonna believe the fact that two partners get together and it's one partner's fault why the partnership didn't last, and they're gonna believe that and blame you as well and muddy the water and not wanna do business with them, he is protecting, promoting, and perfecting you. Another good example, I wrote my first book, super excited. First the lead editor or a reviewer from Goodreads, which is like the Amazon reviewer. Well, I wrote in my book, and I still believe this, by the way, that you can talk to water. And I did the research. It changes the molecular structure of water. If I talk nicely to water, clears it up. If I talk dirty to water, it becomes dirty. So I write this in my book about the power of vibration and frequency to molecular structures of anything. Water being the greatest conductor of energy was a very obvious one. This lady said, David Meltzer's an idiot. I won't read the book. He thinks you can talk to water and clear it up or whatever. And gave me 1 star. So my first big review was 1 star. And I went to my wife like you, going, oh my God, my career's over as a book writer. No one's ever gonna buy Connected to Goodness. 1 star, first review. But you know what happened? Everyone that listened to that lady didn't buy my book and never read it because they said, yeah, this guy's an idiot. He thinks you can talk to water. Protecting me from those people. Just the same way you're being protected. But you know what else happened that I didn't expect? Was everybody that wouldn't have read my book, that wasn't really interested in my book, read the review and got pissed off and said, that lady's an idiot. I believe what Dave Meltzer, I really am curious what else Dave Meltzer believes. I want to read his book, and my sales went way up. I probably was the only bestseller ever that had because when your first review is a big review at 1 star, everybody has the 5.0 until they get thousands of reviews, and then it drops to 4.9 or 4.8. That doesn't mean your book's good or bad. Mine was the opposite. I had to work my way from 1.0. But nobody cared because of this idea. So when people attack me, when they blame me, when they live in shame and justification, they're protecting, promoting, loving me. I say all the time, my wife will say, oh, they said you're a hypocrite because they saw you yelling at me on the tennis court. Yeah, I was yelling at you because you made fun of me and all the other guys on the other court were making fun of me and laughing, and I got mad and I yelled at you. Well, my friends think you're a hypocrite because Mr. Connected to Goodness yelled at his wife on the tennis court. I'm like, protecting and promoting me. They obviously are not my friend. Why would I even waste my time? I don't play very often, especially after I yelled at my wife. I don't get invited very often.
Dave, I got a question.
Yeah, please, sorry.
First of all, thank you for the invite over here. I'm Carl. I'm with Make Cool Shit.
Yeah.
This is Drew over here, co-founder of
Make Cool Shit. Hang out with cool people.
We're hanging out with cool people, trying to take over the world, making cool shit. Well, it seems like your.
Oh.
It seems like your kind of career is.
Can you help her? Can you help Marissa? Sorry, it's my daughter.
Oh yes.
After Maple?
Huh?
Maple what?
Make Cool Shit.
Make cool shit.
Make Cool Shit. Based out of New Jersey. But it seems like your career has evolved in so many ways, and you're helping entrepreneurs from all over the world. With your recent partnership and just kind of role with the Napoleon Hill Foundation.
Yeah, Institute. The foundation is not for profit, it's charity. The Institute is a business.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. And
we fund the foundation.
Got it. And I was also going to bring up Go Fund Yourself with opportunities
On Cheddar.
your new show.
Yeah.
It's I feel like you're working towards some type of future offering for kind of the contemporary entrepreneur. Would you be able to give us maybe 1 or 2 sentences about what you feel like entrepreneurs need in this new ever-evolving tech climate?
Yeah, so what entrepreneurs need in the ever-evolving tech climate is community. So there's all this dispersed community of different social silos, different ideas, and the community that I'm trying to build that I think is going to be most beneficial for entrepreneurs is to bring a whole bunch of people together that want to help each other and know people that help each other. That's what entrepreneurship's about. And it's people selling for each other and buying from each other. That lasts for life. And so whether it's meetups, holding courts, TV show, speeches, more content that I put out there and will continue, the Napoleon Hill community that's almost 100 years old, the junior achievement community with 100 million alumni that I'm the chief.
Dale Carnegie's?
I work with Joe Hart. I keynoted the Dale Carnegie International event a few months ago. They're very synergistic to it, but mine is, I have one criteria, which I call frequency. It's, hey, if you're a person who wants to help someone and know people that help someone, and you'd like to have help, of people who know someone, then either for free, come to one of these things. If you want to join our private networking group, it's $497 a year to be a member of this private group, but it's guaranteed. So why do I do that? It's the same thing that Kill talked about. I'm curating the room because, one, in that type of environment, if you can't afford it, you're not ready for, you can't really help too many people. You could ask for help and we'll do it for free. And I also guarantee it for a reason, because even if you could afford it, if you don't trust the guarantee that you will be, it's a profit center for you, then I don't want you in the room either. It's kind of like, we started at 3,600 and it's growing about 100 a week right now. And it's global, and it also, it pays for self-respect too. Like I do VIP dinners. So your first dinner, you'll get the cost of the membership at the dinner for the things I do charge, like the Masters. It's like $15,000 to go to the Masters with me and have a mastermind, and we have John Daly, Jelly Roll, and all these guys. But if you're a member, it's $10,000. It's just cost. So the money makes sense, but the group itself, eventually, everybody fills out a form. This is how I can help people. This is what I want. This is what I'm willing to pay for your help. Whatever, non-binding. I believe in the modern day handshake. Why? Because of what you and I have experienced in our life. So I believe there is a time as a lawyer, you need a binding agreement. When you buy a car, there's laws that are involved. But most of the time, we kill entrepreneurship and we kill business because we're trying to create binding agreements without taking into consideration time, emotion, and value change. So my thing is join the network and then say, hey, if you bring me a family to my dentistry, I'll give you a Starbucks card. Well, I bring you a family and they end up not having very much money and you're a good guy and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to charge them. And then we have a binding agreement and we lose track of what's really going on in abundance. So I call you and go, dude, I heard my friends came to your dental practice. I never got my Starbucks card. And there's this friction, oh, well, I gave them free dental services. I didn't think you'd want me to give you a card. I was helping you out. Now, that works if you call, but what happens in real life? I send the family, they get free dental services from a great guy, a great friend, etc. I found out that they went to the dentist, didn't get my Starbucks card, and I start talking shit to everybody else going, what a jerk. I sent a whole family to him, and he didn't even give me a Starbucks card. I won't use him. This is the problem with binding agreements. See, if we go under and say, we're here to help each other, I'm gonna bring you business, and our goal is that you're gonna do this, and I'm gonna get this back, and vice versa. And when it doesn't work out, it's non-binding. We're just like, oh, it must be something else. And we feel very comfortable, no shame, no blame. And this is working with people. They feel encouraged about time, emotion, and value change, and going back and go, hey, I'm broke right now. I know I told you I pay you 10%, but I really need the 10%. I can understand if you don't want to do business next time. Would it be okay? Because I literally got to make my rent. That's what we need, especially in entrepreneurship, because anyone that's an entrepreneur knows that time, emotion, and value will just kill you because things take longer than they expect and they cost more money than you expect. Thank you.
Yesterday's lecture you gave about coaching versus mentoring. Mentor somebody who's done what you've done before, can help you avoid dummy tax, and sort of coach some overhead. So based on my life, I probably need 4 coaches.
At least.
And a mentor.
Mentors. Let me go over. Mentor, someone that sits in a situation you want to be in. Like these guys, mentors will give you directions. They paid the dummy tax. A coach may not know how to get you there, but they'll bring the best out of you. So I guarantee Tiger Woods' golf coach does not know how to play golf as well as Tiger Woods, but he brings the best out of Tiger Woods. And then a teacher is someone that explains how to do it. They may have taken the mentorship and taken the steps and knows how to teach the steps, or they know how to bring the best out of you, but teach that as well. So yes.
How would I get 4 coaches, 4 mentors? How do I get a coach? How do they relate to each other? How do I pay them?
Yes. So somebody can be all 3, by the way, and you just have to realize what they're better at or worse at. But I find today, because of digital media and databases, it's really easy to find the team you want to play on, and the position you want to play. So the first step is, what's the subject matter, topic, or expertise that I'm looking for, and you find that team. So if I'm a short, white, Jewish guy, I'm looking for a bitty basketball team at the JCC. I'm not trying to play for Barclays, right? That's the team I want to play for, and I know that I'm looking to play this position because of who I am. So the first step is subject matter, topic, or expertise. Then do your due diligence online, find out who the experts are and what teams they're playing on, and then figure out what position you want to play on their team and ask them for help. And make sure you have in mind, who else can I bring on my team that I can help? And so I don't believe in the whole, you're the aggregate of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I remember when my wife had 4 kids under 10, I doubt she was the aggregate of those kids, right? We're actually more about surrounding ourselves with the right people and the right ideas according to the subject matter, topic, and expertise that we want, and picking what position we want to play today and what position we want to move into, and also help other people with the same thing on that team. So you should have 4 teams that you're looking for, 4 positions, different ones, because some of them you may be the team captain, maybe the water boy, maybe the point guard or the center. It doesn't matter. So too many people are looking for an individual instead of using the data that we have, the infinite source of information that says, I'm interested in how to learn how to drive a race car. Okay, I Google, right, best race car teachers in the world or whatever it is, or I watch speeches and I go, that guy seems like that's the philosophy I want to have in race car driving. And then we reach out to him and say, hey, would it help you if I was able to do this? Do you know anyone that could help me? All these different questions. Now, how much do you pay a mentor coach? I have a very strong philosophy. One, you need to know what your bottom line is. So if you don't know what it's worth to you, that's what bottom line is. I own a car. I know it's worth 10 grand to me to sell it. Anything below that, I'm not going to sell it. Most people don't go into business situations where they know their bottom line. And then they wonder why they're negotiating up against themselves. They wonder why 80% of their business loses them money, because it's either breaking them even or losing them money, and they haven't focused in on taking the business that's breaking them even and making it profitable and giving their competitors all the losing business. So not only do they stop draining their business, but they've just cursed their competitors because they've given them losing business. Now, in the matter of bottom line, know your bottom line no matter what. So mentorship, coaching, and teaching it's the same as selling a car. I know my bottom line. If Leon will help me with what he's good at, I know it's worth to me $1,000 a month because I'll make $2,000 a month. That's good math. That's profitable. But here's where most people fail. Perceived value. Perceived value on both parties is important when we have a transaction. Mentorship, coaching, teaching, vendors, associates, channel partnerships, business partnerships, marriage, any of these things. Perceived value to me is where the real margins are made. Bottom line will always mitigate risk, allow you to be profitable in everything that you do with your time, emotion, money, etc. But the real money is made in the work, which is perceived value. Perceived value is only based off of 2 things: your comfort level and your confidence in articulating that value to exceed what you're asking for. Why are some great speakers not paid and other shitty speakers like me paid $100,000? Because I'm very confident and comfortable in telling you why to pay me $100,000. Because I ask you, why are you hiring me? Because if you're hiring me to sell tickets and you're going to pay me that, you're going to be really disappointed because I can maybe sell 500 tickets to an event. That's how big my brand is, my community is. That's how many people like me and think I'm worth showing up for. 500 people. So if you have a 15,000 person venue and you want to pay me $100,000, the math is not going to do well for you. But if you can sell tickets because you're a charity and you have 7,000 people in the Boy Scouts and everybody buys tickets, and the real reason you want David Meltzer is because he guarantees he'll raise over $1 million from what you raised last year, can you see any reason you wouldn't want to hire me over Mike Tirico from ESPN that will sell more tickets? You don't need tickets sold. But I'm very comfortable and confident in asking for what I want to exceed what you're asking for. $1 million is more than 100,000. Can you see any reason you won't want to make $1 million? And I'll guarantee it. Now, why would I guarantee that? Which I do very often. When I'm brought into a situation to keynote big events where millions of dollars are raised, I guarantee that I will raise a portion more that exceeds exponentially what I'm charging. Why do I do that? Because I know in the end, my faith, that I'm there to be of service and of value. And if it's a charity, my bottom line is always zero. My bottom line is zero. And if they're willing to make the investment in me, then I'm willing to do it for zero if I don't achieve what I think I can achieve. I did, and I'm fine because I won. I would have done it for free anyway.
You touched on this notion before that the happiness is in the pursuit.
Yeah.
And that I think one thing that is inherent to that is continuously learning. If you're going to sit down for an hour today and only use that time to learn, what topics, subjects would you want to learn about?
Circumstance. So he asked, what topic or subject would I learn about if I had an hour to learn right now? First of all, everybody should have non-negotiable behaviors. I divide my life in half. 12 hours a day is non-negotiable, so that takes circumstance out of the equation. Minimum amount of time sleeping, family, health, finance, faith, study of relativity, and study of time. That's 12 hours. So in other words, I have complete control. I have complete certainty in half my life from now until I die. Complete certainty. Now, I know in order to effectuate more in my life, all I have to do is practice pre-prioritization, prioritization, and post-prioritization according to circumstances. So I research every day. And if I was going to research for an hour more today, because I have a minimum amount of time that I study's paying attention and giving intention to the coincidences I want, the coinciding of the universe, the infinite, with my human experience. That's why coincidences are coincidences. And the more you elevate your awareness, the more aware you are of coincidences, and the more you start expecting coincidences with other people defined as miracles. So I always say I expect miracles because of what you're saying. Why would I study circumstances? Well, one, I know that half of my life is non-circumstantial, it's non-negotiable, and I know that if I do the non-negotiables, that I'm gonna live a long time and have amazing outcomes in my life, regardless of how much I fuck up the other 12 hours every day. But the other 12 hours are gonna be way more enjoyable because they're circumstantial. See, the human body, we hate the non-consequential, the non-circumstantial, and the non-negotiable. Why? Because human beings hate repetition and truth. That's why parents bug the shit out of us, because why? We repeat things and we're honest. Because we care about you. And being a boss, why do your employees hate you? Because you're repetitive and honest. Why do you think you have to be repetitive and honest? Because human beings don't learn the first time. And they don't like honesty. This is true. So I study circumstances because the greater I have certainty of making my life non-circumstantial and also learning how I prioritize according to circumstances that I have no control of. Remember, there's only one certainty in the future. Everybody can predict only one thing about the rest of their life. Close. It's interesting. Close. Certain people don't pay taxes. So, no, think about it. It's just 24 hours. The only certainty in the human experience is 24 hours, and aligned with death, God guarantees that you have 24 hours a day, every day of your life to live, except for the last day. God guarantees 24 hours a day, every day of your life, except for the last day. He's going to cheat you. If you're lucky, seconds, minutes, maybe hours. So think about your life in this context. So I'll live to at least 111. I'm 57, so that's at least 54 more years I got. Out of those 54 years, I know 27 of my years, I don't care because I know I'm going to be healthy, my family, I'm going to have finance, all of those things. I'm paying attention every day, regardless of what the weather is, the mortgage rates are, delays, whatever else happens. I know this is happening, and I also know I'm taking advantage of time because 2 minutes a day is worth 2 hours on a Saturday. So if I'm consistent with 12 hours, that's like 1,200 hours on a Saturday. Now, circumstances, back to your question. The better I am at understanding circumstances and not creating outcomes according to circumstances, instead pursuing my potential and not letting the circumstances interfere with my potential. All based off of faith, by the way. All my philosophies, you have to believe, or they're not going to make sense to you. All, regardless of your religion, philosophy, spirituality, or theories you have to believe that you are a resource of a source, something bigger than you that knows everything and is all powerful, loves you, protects you, promotes you, and perfects you more than your mom. If you believe that, then every time you get kicked in the face, you're going to be like, thank you. I'm being protected, promoted, loved, and perfect. I'm just too stupid that this circumstance of kicking me in the face is a really good thing if I have the right meaning to it, because it's going to get me to where I want to be, or better, faster. I just got to pre-prioritize or reprioritize it or prioritize it according to the 24 hours and the circumstance. But most of it, you know, first of all, of half of your life being non-consequential, circumstantial, or negotiable, sleep is a third, right? It's 8 hours. How many of you have a sleep coach? I'm the only one?
Wearing it.
Yeah, it's not a coach. I have a sleep coach, 18, 19 years almost. Yes. Why is that? Well, I figured I'm not going to be a great football player, so I wouldn't have to pay for a football coach. But I knew that I was going to sleep a third of my life. 26 years minimum. Why not be the best at what God wanted us to do? How do we know what God wants us to do here as human experience? Well, he provided 4 things you have to do. So that to me says God tells me to prioritize it. Sleep. If you don't sleep, you die. If you don't eat, you die. If you don't drink, you die. And if you don't breathe, you die. So if you don't have a sleep coach, an eat coach, a drink coach, and a breathing coach, I think you're a fool. You're so worried about having a toenail coach or whatever people have, a 19-year-old life coach. Oh man, I got a 19-year-old life coach. That's gonna get me there. Not me. I got a sleep coach, an eat coach, a drink coach, and a breathing coach. Because God told me you don't do these things well, you're dead. That seems to indicate to me in a pragmatic sense, these might be more important than a 19-year-old life coach or a speaking coach or a book writing coach or, you know, a golf coach. Fucking, I got friends that pay $250 in Orange County. We got some great golf coaches. $250 an hour for a golf coach. As far as I know, God didn't say if you don't play golf, you're gonna die. And you're gonna pay $250 for a nutrition coach? They'll pay $2,500 a month for a car. I got friends who pay $2,500 a month for a car, don't spend a fucking dime on their health, on what they eat, drink, sleep, or breathe. This doesn't make sense. Most people go to bed at night, wake up more tired in the morning. I promise you, you'd be really weirded out if we took everybody to dinner, ate a buffet, and walked out of the restaurant and everyone looked at each other going, aren't you hungry? Aren't you hungry? Yeah, I'm starving. Aren't you hungry? Aren't you hungry? That's exactly what happens every morning. Fuck, I'm so tired. Yeah, me too. I'm exhausted. Oh, did you sleep? Yeah. Did you sleep? Yeah. That's weird, because I thought sleep was for recovery and access of information, infinite information that we transcend to give us awareness in the day to know how to deal with the circumstances of the day, giving us intuition, intelligence, and inspiration to not lack commitment to get to where we want to be, the progress of the potential that you have. These simple frameworks, yes. Make cool shit, right?
No, it wasn't a make cool shit question.
I just keep repeating it for the video so people go there.
I mean, Drew could be recording right now. That was a great soundbite. And everyone should check out WeMakeCoolShit.co.
WeMakeCoolShit.co.
Yes, WeMakeCoolShit.co. This is more so a sleep question. I've been doing hyperbaric oxygen treatments for the past couple of years, just based off of some insight you put on some of your videos. I feel like, have you done hyperbaric oxygen treatments and have you noticed a difference in your sleep?
For sure. Everything is personal. When you understand technology today, all these things that we said, vitamin C, D, 1-a-days, to anything. I do vibroacoustic lounge, so I do sound and vibration. Uh, I've had Sleep Number. I'm getting Sleep 8, the cover. I've heard that is amazing. I believe that almost everything, I use the Sleep Nora, which is a sound-based thing that slowly lifts my head so I get better, no snoring. The Oura Ring, the watches, they're all, but know this, you got to try it yourself. We're all different. Not only DNA-wise different, genetically different, but energetically we're different. And beyond being completely different, as far as I know, I'm the only one that has this. Only one that has that. Nobody has that. Nobody. 7.6 billion people, I'm the only one with that. So I'm not going to rely on any one thing that I could give you advice that works for me that will work for you. I can give you methodologies, things to think of, things to practice, and see if they work for you. But there's so many variables involved. And so I say, try the things, and if they work for you, keep doing them until they don't work. Same thing with social media advertisement. Like people want these secret sauces. I'm like, dude, if I could tell you what videos had what audience for what I would be a trillionaire. And so anyone tells you, oh, I can increase your engagement. You don't even know my fucking engagement. Like, because my engagement might just be, I'm looking for 2 people to be engaged with this information because I know whoever's engaged with the information, these are the 2 people I need. Other things I might want nobody engaged, but just people watching it because I think it's funny or interesting, or maybe it's planting a seed, but I don't want engagement. You see the difference?
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I had a question.
Nikhil.
One of the things that, like I feel like when I started entrepreneurship, I was an uninformed optimist. There were a lot of things that I know now that if I had known, I probably would have started. And one of the hardest things is like being married and being in a young relationship is.
I mean, this actually is your wife?
Yes.
Hold on, I'm just checking.
This is my wife.
I didn't realize you were blind. I did. That's what I said last time. Well, I'm still amazed. You're a great salesman. Me too. But I'll hire you for sure. That's who you hire to sell right there. Look for that, guaranteed. That guy can sell anything. B product, A salesman. Kidding, go ahead.
So one of the hardest things that I've learned is like entrepreneurship is a gut-wrenching experience. It's like the way it builds your character, you're forced into situations, you want to give up. But I chose that and I made that choice.
Yeah.
My wife didn't make that choice. She
Yes.
chose to be. So how do I, like, as much as I want to promise her, hey, like it's next year is going to be this, but it's like unexpected things happen and she has to kind of be by my side through the ups and downs. How can I better manage that?
That's a great question. So how do I manage my significant other's expectation, which doesn't necessarily have to be your spouse? People have to manage their parents' expectations, their kids' expectations, their friends' expectations. So understanding that you don't know what you don't know, and that circumstances will change the instant you make a decision or come to an agreement. Time, emotion, and value will change. The best thing that we can do is continue to manage and develop the expectation. So we don't want to attach our own hopes to, hey, I'll be happy when I have 6 franchises. This will be good when, by the end of the year, you're in a death sentence with people when you try to put linear time to anything entrepreneurial. I'm gonna repeat that. You are in a death sentence when you try to put linear time onto an entrepreneurial venture. That's an impossible thing. So what you know is that if I can enjoy what I don't like or don't love in the pursuit of my potential every day without quit, but you also have to manage and develop the vision with what your wife has. So for me, these non-negotiables, the way that I dealt with it is I took all the expectations out of my journey. I said, I'm committed to making sure that this is going to be our lifestyle, whatever it is. This is in my timing and risk tolerance, so I'm not going to lose the house. I'm not going to upgrade our cars. We're going to have to stay in this house because this is the journey if you want to support me, if that's okay with you. And time I am going to spend a minimum amount of this amount of time on this every day, 7 days a week. You can help me pick when that is during the day, but on top of that, so I did that with my wife the second time around because she didn't buy into risking everything. She never would have bought into, hey, lose all $100 million. She would have said, look, give me 10, you go fuck off whatever you want, and I'm leave you when you can't borrow any of mine when you lose it all. That's what she would have said. But I didn't involve her. I didn't manage her, develop her expectation. But now, the second time around, I said, here's what I'm gonna do. I promise you, I know I can do this, but we're gonna live in a rented house with one rented car. Here's our monthly budget. I know no matter what I'm gonna do in this side of it, we're gonna live in this house with this furniture and this car, and I will be able to feed the family. We're only gonna be able to go out once a week. We're not gonna have a private plane, a boat. We're not gonna have a Ferrari. And I'm gonna do all of this, and everything that's left over, I'm gonna give to you. And whatever you wanna do, you wanna buy a beach house, you wanna do a car, because this is all I need in order to get me to where I wanna be or better, what I want, and I need your support. Is that aligned with your timing and risk tolerance? And then time-wise, because that's the risk, she was fine with it. I said, time-wise, I'm going to give a minimum of 10 hours a day to this 7 days a week. But I'm gonna wake up at 4, and 5 of those hours are before you're even up and going. And the other 5 will be dispersed, but I promise you this, 7 days a week, you get a minimum of 30 minutes of my day every day, sweetheart. And each of these kids get a minimum amount of time 7 days a week. That's the framework that I have. And if I don't, I need you to call me out immediately and say, hey, you told me you weren't gonna buy that, or you told me you were gonna spend time with me today, or that's my job. Does that sound fair? And once I did that, it not only created less resistance, less guilt, but it also created more productivity. And it has since. My son turned 15 on St. Patty's Day, and he was the only kid I had left at a minimum of 30 minutes a day. My 3 daughters get minimum 2 minutes a day. 7, yeah. I asked for 5, they gave me 2, but it's minimum. Marissa and I spend 3 hours a day together. But it's minimums, because 2 minutes a day is worth 2 hours on a Saturday. I still, circumstantially, I pick extra time to give to my wife, which will be tomorrow when she flies in. Circumstantially, I give more time to my friends, more time to this, more time sometimes to my entrepreneurial journey, more time to videos or interviews. But I'm stuck to my minimums, she's agreed on my minimums, and I still have the money thing, right? She's the one that bought my beach house. She's the one that bought the homes in Bloomington. She's in charge, right? My job is the home I live in, right? It used to be a Chevy Volt. Now it's a 2004 Lexus SC430 fully owned. That's my car. The Porsche, the Audi, the Mercedes, that's hers. Because I told her I'm gonna make as much as I can on this crazy ass journey. I'm gonna give you this much time, but this is all I'm gonna spend. And now it came into no resentment, no guilt. As long as I lived up to what I promised, time-wise and money-wise, easy. And there was no, hey, you told me by the end of the year the deal would close. I told me you'd be fully funded. You told me you'd have 6 stores open. You told me you'd be you get paid to speak. That was my favorite one. She's like, I was doing what I told. She's like, you have spoken all over the world, my first year speaking, 100 speeches, and you haven't been paid shit. But she just laughed at me. She didn't care because it wasn't like I promised her I'd be making 100 grand my first year speaking and buy her a new blank to blank. I promised we had this place to live and to do what? One more question? All right, last question. Great. Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll follow up with another family question.
Thank you.
Entrepreneur, full-time dad, homeschool dad.
Yeah.
Any advice?
Yeah. So here's my advice for family, and my mom just passed, so it means even more to me. Every day I text my mom, including now, because I kept her phone on my plan, and is sitting, I text her, I am happy, I am healthy, I love you, and I appreciate you forever. Every day I'm texting my mom, and I did for 18 years before she died. Because I knew as a parent that that's what I would want from my kids. Only thing, all the other shit was nonsense. I just want to know, hey, are you happy? Are you healthy? Do you love me? Do you appreciate me? That's enough. I don't care if you're a doctor, a lawyer, or a failure. If you are happy being a doctor, lawyer, or failure, healthy, love me and appreciate me, I'm good. And so I think first understanding what you want from your son. And then working from there, how do you get that? I'll tell you how you get that. You teach your kids 3 things. 1, that you love them. 2, that you're proud of them. And most importantly, I feel, as a dad to a son, a single dad to a single son, homeschooling them, that you always have their back. You always have their back. And so I tell my kids every day, also in person, on the phone, email, or text, I love you, I'm proud of you, and I always have your back. My expectation is to do your best. So I don't care what they do. They can play golf, they can do cheerleading, which I hated. I didn't care. But I did care if they didn't do their best cheerleading, if they didn't learn lessons cheerleading, and they didn't have fun. Do your best, learn lessons. The latest lesson that I'm learning, I just had a whole text with my daughter in Spain, is that I hired her to work for me, and I'll use arbitrary numbers, but I told her, help me with my Instagram 30 minutes minimum a day, 7 days a week. I will give you $1,500 for the month for 30 minutes a day. And they don't have to be 30 minutes together. It could be 6 5-minute things on my Instagram, but it has to be every day, 7 days a week. And if you do it without missing one day, I will give you a bonus of $1,500. She's never been able to do it. And my other daughter, who I fired, never was able to do it.
How old was she?
And she is 20. Yeah. So then what I realized, though, is I made a mistake, is in the first month, because I have this attitude, do your best, learn lessons, and have fun, but I also want her to enjoy her life. I gave her a bonus in the first month because she only missed 2 days. I'm like, that's okay. And then it became 3 days. And now she's in Barcelona. I think it might be 15 days. So I told her, she's like, Dad, you didn't give me my bonus. I'm like, well, you didn't work yeah, but you promised. So I had to explain to her that it wasn't the money, that I was going to send the money anyway, but you promised you would do it every day. I made the mistake of giving you the money when you didn't do it every day. But moving forward for April, if you don't do it every day, I'm not going to send it, because I want you to learn one thing that I feel has been the greatest contributor to my life: consistency. I will swear by, if you watch and you get into the Dave Meltzer silo, I don't think you'll find a more consistent human being. I'm teaching Craig Siegel to be. I told Craig Siegel, by the way, he does the paradigm shift with me on Saturdays, and I started mentoring him to build a brand, and he said, will you do a show with me? I'm like, absolutely, brother. How about Saturdays? What time's good, Dave? Anytime you want. I said, let's try non-time, but around 7:30, but we'll change it if you're getting married. You mean I gotta do this fucking show on my wedding day? I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to do it on your wedding day, because if you don't do it every Saturday consistently, I'm out. The day you miss a Saturday, I would even maybe switch it, depending on time zones, to cursory Sunday if it fell on a Saturday in one country, maybe. But why did I do that? Because that's who I am. That's what made me. I am not the smartest, most talented person, but I am the most consistent person about shit that most people don't like or love, and that sometimes I don't like or love. And I attribute it to football, because I hated playing college football as a second string player. It was so hard.
Where'd you go to school?
Occidental. It was so hard, physically, mentally, emotionally. It was so hard. And I got no joy sitting on the bench and getting my ass kicked at practice and my ego deflated. But I showed up every practice. Little did I know, that would be the gift. That's the perfection. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome.